Hi there, crafty pals, Louise with you today. Thanks so much for checking out this video. Today I'm sharing a guest design team piece for Paper Rose featuring the Merry and Bright collection. As soon as I saw these pattern papers, I had a bit of an idea of where I wanted to go with this. So I want to create a grid style background. I think these papers are fantastic. The patterns are amazing. They've got a sort of a thickness to them that they're just that little bit extra. And I'm going to cut a bunch of squares by 3.5 by 3.5, and then I'm going to distress the edges and add a little bit of stitching. So my photo is from our Christmas carnival, and it's really hard to kind of see because it was really bright lights and it's on a ride, but I think it matches in with this particular collection really well. It's got that Christmas feel to it and the colors blend in quite nicely. So I'm going to double mount that. I'm going to firstly use one of the pattern papers just to have a little bit of color poking out, and then I'm going to pop it on black just to separate it from the edges of the pattern paper in the background. Now I've also die cut some pieces. So this is a Paper Rose die cut. It's a Christmas wreath, and as you can see off camera, I've gone ahead and just square stitched with my sewing machine around those outside edges. This is really great. So distressing, yes, will give me texture, but the stitched edges, and I personally really like having my cotton thread just poking out the other side as well. It really gives it that sort of textural element, and it's a little bit visually appealing without sort of being too overwhelming as such. Now I use tacky glue. If you're new to my channel and you haven't seen my videos before, I use tacky glue when I'm sticking my elements down. I live in Queensland, Australia, and yes, the humidity in summer tends to destroy quite a few of my layouts, so I've pulled them out of albums and they have fallen apart when I just use double-sided tape. So a little bit of tacky glue to hold everything down really works quite well. It's at this point where I'm going to start to add a few of the little elements that came with the die cuts. So the Merry and Bright collection, it has a 12 by 12 paper pack, has a 6 by 6 paper pack that I'm working with today, some die cuts which are really fun. I think if you're a card maker, you'd really love these. They would make some fantastic Christmas cards, but for me, I've broken a few of them out and I'm going to use them to embellish around this page. Now, if you don't necessarily like the sort of the bright white border around your embellishments, you can just use a little bit of ink, and that will sort of soften those edges. I'm going to use, pardon me, I'm going to use a combination of both. So I'm going to ink some of them and leave some of them a little bit bright. I'm going to mount a few of them up with some foam tape as well, just to give them some dimension in the background. I chose navy blue cardstock to die cut those wreaths out of, and I did that because, as you can see, the collection has a little bit of that blue sort of tinge to it. There's a couple of those paper pads that are sort of nighttime, but they're not totally black. So that blue, I think, is a really good transition between the reds and the darker colors. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time sticking a few of these elements down, and in the final stages of this layout, I'm going to keep it pretty simple. I've kept that little Holly Jolly title, and I'm going to off camera add my journaling. Again, I always encourage you just to at least put a time or a place, a year of whenever the photo was taken. You never know who's going to look back on your albums down the track. Okay, that's my share for today. Thank you so much for joining me and watching, and I hope you enjoyed.